the game going on at the San Mames between Athletic Club and Barça in La Liga. I am Omar Hawash, and I believe that the stream now should be all good on all platforms. So that is Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and you'll be able to watch them back if you so desire. Now, what we have here is a game that is of the utmost importance for the Catalan outfit. Barca, of course, are desperate to pile on points as they try to continue to stay ahead of Real Madrid in La Liga. Real Madrid, of course, getting a very, very late victory last night as they took on Celta Vigo at the Balaidos, winning 2-1 at the death. And, well, Fede Valverde, the man to make that happen for Real Madrid. And for Barca now, they're only 1 point ahead. A win here would bring them back to the 4 point lead that they had prior to yesterday's match and prior to the start of this match day round of fixtures in La Liga. For Barca, the starting lineup is the following. Joan Garcia starts in goal. Pau Cubarsí partners up with Gerard Martin in the heart of defense. Eric Garcia playing the right back position and also wearing the armband today. On the left, Jacques Cancelo, a rare start for him since signing on loan from Al Hilal earlier on this season in the January transfer window. The midfield consisting of Marc Squared and Marc Bernal and Marc Casado. Dani Olmo playing in behind El Tiburon, Ferran Torres, Lamine Yamal on the right, and Marcus Rashford on the left. In terms of bench options, aside from Diego Cochen and Wojciech Chesney, the goalkeepers, you have, of course, Ronald Araujo, Fermin Lopez, Pedri, Tommy Marquez, Xavi Espart, who's said to have been very impressive as of late in training sessions under Hansi Flick and his technical staff. Then, of course, a front three of Rafinha, Robert Lewandowski, and Roni Bargi, all who you'd imagine are raring to come on. For Athletic Club, it's Unai Simon in goal, the Spain national, Vivian and Aymeric Laporte. Laporte, of course, is back in Europe, back in Spain, and back in the Basque Country playing for Athletic Club. And he starts next to Vivian in the heart of defense. On the right is Gorosabel. On the left is Boiro. The midfield consisting of Jorge and Rego. Gomez started on the left but got hooked 11 minutes in due to a potential injury. Robert Navarro, the attacker, replacing him, of course, the 23-year-old winger on the left-hand side. In the number 10 spot is Selton Sanchez, so no Oyhan Sanchez from the start yet. And then Alex Berenguer on the right and Iñaki Williams down. Iñaki Williams through the middle. No Nico Williams due to injury, still recovering from his injury, as well as other players that are of note. Aitor Paredes, for example, Beniat Prados, of course, also injured. Marwan Sanadi, also injured. So their bench is looking a little bit thin, but does contain the likes of Galarreta, Yuri Bechiche, Mikel Vetka, as well as Oyhan Santer, of course, and then Gorka Guruteta, who has been impressive as of late, although he does see himself on the bench today next to Nico Serrano. So it has been a very topsy-turvy game here. Uh, it hasn't been the game that Barca would have hoped for. It hasn't been the game Athletic Club would have hoped for. It's been very, very physically oriented as Eric Garcia actually collided into Sanchez, well, a few minutes ago, actually. Um, but they're both up now. And again, for Barca, this is a must-win game. And, they're coming to the San Mames. The San Mames is never an easy pitch to play on. It's never an easy atmosphere to be a part of. And Athletic Club know that, and they've been doing their utmost to make sure that Barca struggle in this game. And so far, they've made that happen. Athletic Club have gotten closer to scoring than Barca have, but they might have a chance here down the left-hand side with Marcus Rashford. It's a great switch over to the Englishman. Tries a cross, and it's floating towards the back post, but unfortunately for Barca, it goes out of play and will be a goal kick, much to the amusement of the Athletic Club fans in the stands. Will be a goal kick for Unai Simon. Of course, there was speculation as to whether Unai Simon would start today, but he has started and has done decently well whenever he has been called upon so far. And in this opening first half, the statistics, as always, favor Barca, but that doesn't really mean much because Barca have had 79% possession as we speak, although they've only had a single shot off target, whereas Athletic Club have had 3 shots and only one of them on target. But they've had as many on target as Barca have had shots in total. And Barca's passing, as always, has been a prominent factor in their play. Close to 200 passes with a 93% accuracy for Athletic Club. It's been 38 passes, 68% accuracy. So the kind of game you'd expect in that regard, but for Barca, they would have hoped to at least have gotten closer to being ahead at this point of proceedings, but that has not been the case. And Barca look to combine again here on the right hand side. They give it away here. It's a ball over the top for Sanchez coming in down the left hand side. Sanchez cuts inside. Sanchez, he takes the shot and it's blocked by Gerard Martin. The follow from Iñaki Williams, and it just goes wide. And that's kind of been how the game has gone so far. Athletic Club hit on the counter. Aymeric Laporte actually the man to take down Lamine Yamal down the right, and then it was picked up by, I believe, Adama, who over the topped it for Sanchez. Very well timed by both of them, just beating the offside trap, beating the line of defense, and subsequently, the shot that ultimately fell to Iñaki Williams was off target, luckily for Jean Garcia and Barca. And Barca, again, now, Joao Cancelo starting down the left. Um, so again, given the injury to Jules Koundé, you'd expect some shuffling around to be done. But ultimately, Hansi Flick has not opted for Gerard Martin down the left. He's opted for him through the middle and left Araujo on the bench. Favored Gerard Martin instead of him. So Kubarsi and Gerard Martin are your defensive partnership at the back. And then Eric Garcia is playing right back now. And Joao Cancelo down the left. So Joao Cancelo getting a run in here for Barca, which will mean a lot for the Portuguese. It'll be a good chance for him to start integrating himself into this team. As Dani Olmo flicks a ball over for Lamine Yamal and continues his run. Lamine Yamal taking his time on the ball down the right hand side, stretching the width of the pitch, and goes back to Gerard Martin. Good drive forward from the youngster. Finds Rashford in space, out for Jacques Cancelo. Cancelo first touch good, second touch not as much, and ultimately loses the ball. Gorosabel stepped in and gave away a throw in for Barca. Now to be taken by the Portuguese fullback. Going back to Gerard Martin. Here is Marc Casado. And of course, an interesting thing here as well to note is the midfielders that have been picked for this game ultimately. As a long ball is attempted by Barca, falls to nothing. Athletic Club pick it back up, and then they try the same thing, and that one comes to nothing as well. John Garcia, very alert, does well to clear his lines as he stepped out of his box, and Casado trying the same thing with a long ball, again not working, and again that's sort of been the issue for Barca is they instead rather than continuing to play their style of football and continuing to try and keep control and keep the tempo in their range, they've resorted to countering long ball football with long ball football. And given that Barca don't have the profiles to do that, it's been very difficult for them to get much out of this game so far. So as things stand, close to half an hour played, it is 0-0. And Barca now looking to build slowly, but ultimately what has happened every single time is Lamine Yamal gets on the right, tucks inside, Olmo gets on the right. Now Olmo looks to be offside and is offside. And that's sort of the thing that Atletico have done really well. They've managed to nullify the threat of Lamine Yamal. They've managed to confuse players like Dani Olmo, the central movers like Ferran Torres, and ultimately the entire front three of Barca there, barring Lamine Yamal, who had gone back to pass the ball back for an over the top, were all offside. So again, that sharpness, that awareness is what Barca need to work on in a game like this. And even if it is at the San Mamés, Athletic Club's season so far has not been glamorous. They've lost to Real Sociedad. They've beat the ones they should beat in theory, like Real Oviedo, but they have not had a good stretch in recent games at all. So for Barca, really, there's no reason as to why Athletic Club should come out victorious here, other than Barca going into this complacent and Athletic Club outclassing them tactically, which could happen. Could happen, of course, but looking at it on paper, it should not be the case. As Marcus Rashford attempting to get the ball back after a bit of a tussle between Casado and Athletic Club's number 18, the midfield, one of the midfielders in their double pivot, Haragitar, went to ground. Marcus Rashford followed up and ultimately gave a foul away. Here comes Alex Berenguer. The free kick is taken short. It's close to the halfway line, so not in the line of danger necessarily, but Berenguer looking to make something happen here as Casado puts his body ahead of him. Brilliant tackle from Marc Casado. Can Barca counter here? The answer is no, as Joao Cancelo's pass is a bit wayward and could not return it with interest to Casado, who had done very, very well to win the ball back, has to be said. Now, again, for Barca, a game like this, uh, you look at the starting lineup, it's not the Gala 11. You're missing Pedri, you're missing the likes of Rafinha, you're missing the likes of Robert Lewandowski. And obviously, of course, an argument there could be made as to whether he's still the best striking option. But when you compare it to Ferran Torres, who has not been able to find the net, find the back of the net as often as he, for example, did last season, an argument is definitely there for why Robert Lewandowski should be first choice. So he's on the bench, as is Rafinha. Pedri is also on the bench, having recovered from injury. So obviously, Hansi Flick does not want to rush him back. Frankie de Jong is also injured. Jules Koundé is injured. Whether you consider Jules Koundé to be a first team starter is obviously a different question, but he has been. Matter of factly has been. So that's a miss there. But then the rest of the team should be good enough to beat Athletic Club. On paper, it should be. You have Lamine Yamal, you have Marcus Rashford, you have Joao Cancelo, who are good options to have when you're moving forward. Ferran Torres' hold-up play has always been one of his strengths, so if he can do that today, which he hasn't been able to so far because he's just been completely isolated, that in theory should be a recipe for a good game for Barca going forward. But for Barca now, the problem is Lamine Yamal has not tucked inside. He's kept hugging the touchline, which should not be a problem in theory, because he should still get enough room on the ball and still get enough time on the ball, or at least get enough options to pass to when he does get the ball that help progress play. But that hasn't been the case. Every time he's gotten the ball, he's had to go back, or he's had to go into Dani Olmo, who's instantly pressed the second he even thinks about getting close to the ball. And actually, what it's forced Dani Olmo to do is sort of be like a second right wing back in build up, positionally speaking. And Joao Cancelo's passed one of the handful of games he's had since joining in January. So expectations have to be aligned with that, with reality. And well, Casado does brilliantly well, pirouettes away from pressure, then looks to ping it through a wall of Athletic players towards Ferran Torres. Didn't work, but Hansi Flick claps for Casado nonetheless. Casado did very, very well initially against Guitar and chased by Aymeric Laporte, who had actually pushed up. Laporte, actually, the player to foul Casado, as it turned out. And Barca get the free kick here, playing it well through. Casado, Rashford to Cancelo. Cancelo! Close. And that's the type of stuff Joao Cancelo offers you for Barca. Got the ball off the left-hand side, combined with Marcus Rashford. Brilliant move to run in between two Athletic Club defenders. Just too much on it. Couldn't get to it before Unai Simon did on the end of that pass to himself. Brilliant move from the Portuguese, and maybe next time it will work. But if Cancelo can get that confidence up, that's exactly what Barca need. As they almost give it away here. Jean Garcia to the rescue, though, as Sanchez couldn't get it back, and it looked like it might have been. I don't know if we'll get a replay of that, but looks like it might have been Casado actually who tried to tackle the ball and ultimately tackled it right into the path of Selton Sanchez, who had pushed up on into the left half space, which is exactly the area that the ball ended up in. And well, Jean Garcia doing very, very well to nullify that threat, but Barca playing it too close to comfort right now. And unfortunately for the Catalan guests, have not been able to yield the results of anything so far, other than a scoreline that is just as stale as it was when the game first started, roughly 35 minutes ago. And for Athletic Club and Ernesto Valverde, this would be a very, very good result, all things considered, having just lost both the home and return leg to Real Sociedad in the Copa del Rey and getting knocked out by your Basque rivals. Getting a 0-0 draw against the league leaders would be very, very good. As Barca progress play again here, great switch from Rashford in for Cancelo. Rashford looking to cut inside and looked to get away from the defense, wasn't able to. They clear it though. and it lands right back at Barca's feet. Now, Eric Garcia combining with Lamine Yamal down the right. Lamine assessing his options with a Trivela cross in towards Ferran Torres. And Unai Simon got there first. And again, for Barca, not ideal. Far from it, in fact. But in theory, could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse. And I suppose that's the silver lining here for Barca is that it could be a lot worse, and it isn't. Athletic Club could and perhaps should be ahead, all things considered, but aren't. And as for Barca, they were. I'm seeing the same problems here that I recently spoke about as well. Um, on the Driven Shot podcast, which is a collaborative effort between Bloganagram and Mundo Deportivo. You can check that out on Mundo Deportivo's YouTube channel, or if you click the link in our Twitter bio, if you're watching this on Twitter or anywhere really, there should be a link. There is a link to the podcast that you can check out. Of course, that podcast is where we talk about anything Barca related that we didn't cover on BG Match Day. So that's more of it's an extension, so to speak, of BG Match Day. Or if anything else pops up that isn't necessarily Barca related, it's also covered there. So I spoke about this at length recently, and the issue for Barca at this point in time seems to be that no matter what happens in their attacking play, it just does not feel inventive. One thing we've praised this Barca team to the high heavens for under Hansi Flick, right, is that the team has always seemed like a team that's having fun. Going forward, they're having fun. They're inventive. They're creative. They're daring. And it just hasn't felt like that at all in recent games. At all. And this game is just another one you could pile right onto that list unless things change in the next 45. And again, as things stand, Barca are lucky not to be down as Alex Berenguer with a floating ball in towards the box here from a free kick. It gets nowhere. Barca look to chase down the return ball, and Athletic Club keep it well. And Ferran Torres chasing it down here as Athletic Club played it back towards Unai Simon. Lamine Yamal here arguing that maybe there should have been a foul of some sort. We'll have to wait and see what the referee's ultimate decision is, but Lamine Yamal did drag Adama back. So, well, in response to that, Adama pushed his entire body into Lamine Yamal. Both stayed on their feet. And I'm not sure if Lamine Yamal's argument here is that there should be a foul the other way. But Athletic Club get it here. The free kick. It goes all the way towards Joan Garcia. And the Barca goalkeeper ultimately does get to it. Looks like he got a bit of Aymeric Laporte at the same time as he got the ball. The best defender now down. I have to watch it back again. It was a good free kick from Athletic Club. Great in swinger in towards Aymeric Laporte, who was just a little bit too late. Joan Garcia slides in under Laporte, who was still very much standing, and Laporte ultimately just flops on top of Joan Garcia and falls to ground. Receiving some medical treatment now. We'll have to hope he's okay, and we'll have to see. And for Athletic Club, of course, should he be out with an injury here, that is two players injured in the first 45 from your starting 11. Two players that are important to the way this team plays football. And just as a bit of a follow-up to the previous chance that I spoke about with Stelton Sanchez, the giveaway was from Gerard Martinez. He tried to pass it back, seems to just almost have whiffed the ball and didn't get enough power or accuracy on it. And it ended up going right towards Stelton Sanchez's run. And, well, as it looks now, I believe we'll see a substitution for Athletic Club by Aymeric Laporte walking in behind the goal and over to the touchlines. I'm assuming for a substitution is Daniel Olmo here looks to swing a ball out wide for Lamine Yamal over the heads of the defense. Did not work. Athletic Club looked to return the favor. That also did not work, as it was very well gotten to by Pau Cubarsí. And for Gerard Martin, here is Jean Cancelo. And Barca now just playing some triangles. Great move from Gerard Martin again. Line breaking pass in for Ferran Torres. Marcus Rashford here into Ferran Torres now from the left hand side. It's headed away by Vivian. Follow up by Gorosabel. He's chased by João Cancelo, and ultimately it's cleared, but only as far as Marc Bernal, who does lose possession though, and now might be a chance as Barca have managed to keep Iñaki Williams offside, it seems, but that's not stopping him from running towards the goal. He cuts inside Iñaki Williams, and he does score, but it is offside, and it looked so as well. Good composure from Iñaki Williams, but Barca's defense there did incredibly well because what they did was they lured Athletic Club in with that run. They allowed Robert Navarro to continue his run in towards the line of defense and proceeded to pretty much keep an eye on Iñaki Williams and ensure that he doesn't get any headway in terms of beating the offside line or beating the offside trap rather, walking right into it. And ultimately, by the time he got the ball, or by the time it was played, even he was offside. So good finish from Iñaki Williams. Good composure to cut inside, finish it right past Joan Garcia, and he might have another. Well, Athletic Club might have another chance here for Alex Berenguer, if not for Gerard Martin chasing it down very, very well, using both his speed and his physicality to get on top of that duel. And well, it seems like Casado might have clipped Rego there in the play, in the sequence of play there, and Athletic Club do get a foul out of it their way. No yellow card for Casado, but looks like he understood the referee when he explained his side of things to him. As Robert Navarro could be through here down the left side. Robert Navarro! Oh! That was close from Robert Navarro for Athletic Club. Down the left-hand side, it's a great ball, and he appears to be just onside. That time they did beat the trap, and I'm quite frankly unsure whether that was a shot or a low driven cross towards Iñaki Williams. But if it was the latter, the accuracy and curve on it failed him completely because it was never getting to Iñaki Williams. And Barca with perhaps a bit of a lucky escape as we approach the business end of this first half here in the dying embers of it, or at least the regular time of it. Of course, injury time is expected to be added, and I'm going to go on a limb here and guess at least 5 minutes, especially given the quote unquote forced substitution of Robert Navarro in the 11th minute. And then everything that's gone on so far is Athletic Club try another line breaking pass. Appears to be offside. Barca players calling for the offside call. It never came, assuming advantage was played there, as Joan Garcia did get to it first. And Barca now looking to build down the right hand side here. Lamine Yamal gets it from Daniel Olmo. Lamine looking to cut inside. Pressed by Athletic Club. Falls to ground. Referee says get up. And now Athletic Club have an attack of their own down the right hand side with Iñaki Williams. As supporting Alex Berenguer, who's looking to make a run in behind Iñaki with a pretty decent cross in towards the other side with Sultan Sanchez and Robert Navarro. And Sultan now having a bit of a teasing argument with Joan Garcia, it seems. Play does go on, however. And Barca have slowed it to a crawl. Marc Casado. Now the ball is over on the right-hand side with Lamine Yamal, who again is isolated, looks for a Trivela pass over towards Ferran Torres, looking to beat the line of defense with the curve of the ball, but Aymeric Laporte got there first. And it will be only 3 minutes added. Only 3 minutes of stoppage time in this first half at the San Mamés. It is still 0-0. And we'll have to see if Barca can conjure anything out of this corner. It is from the right-hand side. It looks like Barca might go short. Marcus Rashford is the one to take it and had Lamine Yamal next to him, but opted for the Swing instead, it's an outswinger, and it goes in from Ferran Torres, and it just what an audacious attempt from Ferran Torres with a back heel flick that almost grazed the post on its way out. Almost grazed the far post. That was a really, really good attempt from Ferran Torres. Wow. Well, you have to say, for a player who hasn't had much to do this game at all, to have first of all, the inventiveness, but also the daring to do that kind of attempt there, given how things have gone for Barca so far, says something. And maybe next time it will pay off for El Tiburon. But so far, nothing has come from it, other than maybe a glimmer of hope for Barca that this half might not be all Athletic Clubs as they continue to attack and continue to suffocate the Barca defense here down the left-hand side. Ball is played back in for Sanchez, looking to swing it over to the right-hand side towards Gorosabel. Well won back by João Cancelo. Finds Marcus Rashford down the left. He's driving inside. Rashford beats one. Ran into a brick wall, and Barca are claiming handball. Referee says play on. Cancelo combining with Cancelo. Cancelo all the way back to Gerard Martin. Great turn. And ball ultimately back with Joan Garcia as Marc Bernal tapped it back to the goalkeeper. Barca playing on here. Kubarsi. Eric Garcia for Lamine Yamal. Lamine now up against a line of four. In for Casado. Brings it back for Lamine. Ball now with Marc Bernal. Lamine Yamal now occupying a more central role as Eric Garcia has stretched the pitch wide. Comes to nothing though, but Barca win possession back right as Athletic Club are trying to initiate a counterattack in Atletic's own half. So for Barca, good response time on that because otherwise it could have ended up very, very differently. João Cancelo for Marcus Rashford down the left. Rashford one-on-one here against Gorosabel. What can he do? He goes back for Dani Olmo. In zone 14, Olmo with a switch over towards Lamine Yamal. It's still floating. Lamine takes it down. The cross in towards the back post. And it's denied by Athletic Club. See if the corner is given. It appears to have been given. Referee says no. Well, referee still hasn't decided. What he has decided is that time is up. So no corner. And some of the players seem to be quite confused by that. But that is the first half over. Barca unable to find the back of the net. Athletic Club also unable to find the back of the net. And perhaps this game does not reflect as well on Barca as it does on Athletic Club. Athletic Club will feel like this was a pretty good performance, you'd have to imagine. And rightfully so. So on that note, we'll be right back for the halftime show. And I will see you there. So don't go anywhere. Go get a drink, go get a snack, something to keep you awake. And I will see you again shortly. So go somewhere, but don't leave the stream, is what I'm trying to say. I'll see you soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Nice to have you here. I'm Omar Hawash, and this is the BG Matchday halftime show, the Bulgarian Graham halftime show. And yeah, let's talk about it. Barca 0-0 against Athletic Club at the San Mamés. And for those of you who like stats, we're just going to go through some of them, just gloss over them, just give them a nice little glance, a nice once over. Barca with unsurprisingly 76% possession at the San Mamés today. Two shots, none on target. Of course, the last one was the Ferran Torres backheel flick from the corner. Very well worked, and I would not be surprised if Barca tried that again. Athletic Club with three shots, only one on target, with an XG of 0.17. Barca with a 0.05 XG. So essentially, what that means is that Barca's chances when they've taken shots on goal have not been from places where you'd expect them to score as much, whereas Athletic Club have gotten closer in theory to scoring goals, or at least have had the shooting opportunities from places closer or from chances that are more likely to end up in the back of the net. John Garcia, of course, the man denying them on one occasion and two other occasions going wide. He's only made the one save, and on the contrary, he's had 16 out of 19 passes reach their intended targets. Four long balls, only one has reached a Barca player, which is to be expected. He's acted as a sweeper twice and done so quite well, which you'd also expect. We've also come to expect from Joan Garcia. On Athletic Club's side, the question will be whether Ernesto Valverde will make more changes than the one introduced in the 11th minute. Robert Navarro coming on for Unai Gomez, who came off with a suspected injury. We'll have to wait and see the extent of that following the tests after full time. And of course, like I said, names that you will recognize from that lineup on the bench will be Inigo Leque, Jesus Arezo, Yuri Bechiche, Di Galarreta, the Uruguayan midfielder, Mikel Vetka, of course, a long stay in La Liga, especially a long stay for Athletic Club. Oyhan Sanset, a player who's recently come to the fore but has done very, very well, has quite a shot on him and is very creative going forward. Of course, today he's been second fiddle to the 19-year-old Sertan Sanchez, who got close to scoring, to his credit, and has actually done quite well in causing Barca trouble, if not on the ball, then off the ball with his positioning. Um, and of course, Gorga Gurureta, the attacker, the number 11, but he's a number 9 on the bench as well, an option, as well as Nico Serrano, the Spanish 23-year-old. So some options for Ernesto Valverde to play around with, and we'll have to see if he makes any changes. Alex Berenguer has been quite silent in this game on the right wing, as has Lamine Yamal for Barca on the right wing. So both sides' left-sided defenses have actually been quite good in terms of nullifying the threats coming on from that right-hand side. For Lamine Yamal, Adama Boiro has really caused him a lot of trouble. And whenever he's had the ball, Rego has pushed off to the left hand side. Rego is the left sided midfielder in Athletic Club's double pivot. He's pushed onto the left hand side. We've seen Adama Boiro, of course, push up a little bit to help facilitate that defensive block. And then, of course, Robert Navarro has had to play more of a defensive role and has done so quite well. So whenever Lamine Yamal has gotten possession of the ball, it's been Adama Boiro who's pushed up. Laporte, in some instances, is pushed up and a bit further to the left-hand side, covering the half space. But then, of course, Sanset has also been playing quite defensively, despite being the number 10 in this lineup. So Athletic Club's defensive performance has been very astute, as you'd expect in a game like this. But what it has meant for Barca is that Lamine Yamal has found himself quite isolated whenever he's had the ball. No Jules Koundé to link up with. Eric Garcia has had to play a bit more defensively, and whenever he's stretched out wide, Lamine Yamal is tucked inside, but then the only option there is Dani Olmo, who's instantly pressed. So Barca do need to find some way to break that lock, and whether that is relying more on Marcus Rashford and Jacques Cancelo, whether that is trying to play through the middle a little bit more, we'll have to wait and see what Hansi Flick does in the second half. And there is almost a full stadium at the San Mamés, actually 50.6 thousand out of the 53.2 that it's licensed to accommodate at the San Mamés. So 95% of the stadium is filled. Of course, fans from both Athletic Club and for Barca. So quite an attendance for a game like this. And like I said, this game for Barca is their chance to stay ahead of Real Madrid. So if Barca win this game, they'll be 4 points ahead, meaning they could, in theory, lose a game and still be on top. Should they draw this, they will only be 2 points ahead, and a bounce from Real Madrid and then a loss from Barca would obviously put Real Madrid back on top of the table. And a loss here, which would be the worst possible outcome for Barca, of course, for more reasons than one, would only keep them a point ahead. And next up for Barca is Sevilla. Next up for Real Madrid is Elche. So this game for Barca to retain the league title run in their hands for the time being, they need to win this game, which would have them afford they'd be able to afford a draw or a loss against Sevilla and still not be in complete deep waters. Should they lose this, the Sevilla game becomes incredibly crucial. And given the way the Sevilla game panned out at the start of the season, you would expect Sevilla to want to continue that. And for Barca, well, you would expect maybe some sentimental aspect to the game to come to the fore, and Sevilla could very well see Barca out in that game, should that happen. So for Barca, this game is an absolute must-win. For Athletic Club, they are surprisingly to many not challenging for any European football right now. They find themselves they were ninth prior to this game. They're eighth right now with this scoreline. So if they lose this game, they will return to ninth, right ahead of their Basque rivals Real Sociedad on goal difference. And well, should they win this game, they would jump to 39 points. They would be seventh, a point shy of European football. So a must win game for both in terms of their respective goals, but for Barca even more so because a loss here could very well mean that the title challenge would slip up for the time being if Real Madrid come back to form. And given their win yesterday against Celta Vigo, and the fact that they managed to find wins seemingly out of nowhere, Barca have to win this game. There's no way around it. So we'll have to see what Hansi Flick does if he makes any changes to the lineup or just tactical changes. They would be very much welcomed. And for Ernesto Valverde, the bench lineup doesn't look too much better than the lineup already on the pitch. But for Barca, what we're seeing now is Marc Bernal coming off for Pedri. So an instant change, instant response from Hansi Flick as Barca kick us off for the second half. And we'll have to see what changes Pedri can make to Barca's style of play. You'd expect a more attacking approach to this game, definitely. And we'll have to see what that means for Barca as Olmo looks to find Lamine Yamal. Does Lamine Yamal look to swing it inside? He loses possession of it, and Athletic Club almost find themselves through, if not for a very good block from Marc Casado as Iñaki Williams looked to play. I believe it was Alex Berenguer through. And well, Iñaki was offside when he got the ball from Rego, so the ball is called back for play. Barca win the ball back through an offside call in their own half. So Marc Bernal is actually the man to come off. Casado stays with Pedri, and we'll have to see how that pans out. For Athletic Club, an attacking substitution. Selton Sanchez replaced by Oyhan Sanset. So back to the, well, in theory, and at least for me, the best number 10 they have in Oyhan Sanset. And Barca will have to see how they can approach that as Olmo now finds Lamine Yamal down the line for Pedri. Pedri learns to hold the ball and Pedri with a pass inside. It's blocked, bounced back out to the right hand side. That one is cleared by Athletic Club. And well, Iñaki Williams seemed to have gotten pushed down there by Gerard Martin, but play goes on, says the referee. Eric Garcia for Dani Olmo in the half space. Olmo clocked if he was onside. He was. The ball is cleared by Vivian, but lands for Rashford. Rashford with a shot. It's denied by Unai Simon brilliantly. A good curling effort from Marcus Rashford. And already now Barca seem to have woken up just a little bit more. And the ball lands back at Barca's feet in their own half. Gerard Martin over for Pau Barci. Eric Garcia slowly getting the ball here. For Dani Olmo, who's pushed out right. Olmo, good turn to get away from Rego. Keeping possession in for Pedri. Pedri turns away from pressure coming from Oyhan Sanset, Athletic Club's number 8. Ball now goes over for Cancelo. In for Rashford. Great run from Cancelo here down the left-hand side. And just when he was thinking about the cross, he got denied. And it will be a Barca corner. Again, really good strike from Marcus Rashford, just curling it out of the way of Gorosabo, and Unai Simon to the rescue. Unai Simon, again, has done very, very well here. And, of course, we'll have to see If Barca can make something happen out of this corner, it would be very, very welcomed. We'll have to see how that goes as Marcus Rashford stepping up to take this corner. And again, for Barca, this start much, much better than where they left off in the first half. And Rashford here with a cross in, and it just goes wide. Decent headed attempt by El Tiburon. But did not find the back of the net. Again, good play by Barca. It was actually Kubarsi in for Ferran Torres. Of course, suspicion as to whether Torres was offside. To me, didn't look it, but Ferran Torres could not get on the end of that headed pass from Pau Kubarsi. Very good one, by the way. But Ferran unable to get to it before it had already left him. Goal kick for Athletic Club, the way of Unai Simon, goes long over towards the left-hand side. Athletic Club look to head it on into the danger zone, and Barca just about managed to clear it. And Garcia doing well to give away a throw in there for Athletic Club. It is on the it's on the right side for Barca, and Adama ready to take this one. Faced by Lamine Yamal. And Barca looking to cover their men as Athletic Club look to free themselves of Barca's shackles here in the throw-in. Adama going deep. It's cleared away by Casado. Olmo picks it up, flicks it over for Lamine Yamal. Lamine heading it back on the return. Olmo does find Pedri. Pedri claims he was maybe dragged, and the referee agrees. It will be a free kick for Barca, and it's in their own half, taken quickly here by Eric Garcia, swiftly finding Dani Olmo for Casado. Kubarsi. Here is Marc Casado driving in towards the half space. Olmo telling him to drive forward. Does find Olmo. Brilliant turn away, but does fall to ground instantly after. Picked back up by Casado looking to advance play, but it will be a yellow card here for Rego. And we'll have to hope that that does not mean an injury for Dani Olmo. It was a very good turn initially. Rego seems to have pushed and clipped the back of the foot of Dani Olmo. He definitely did clip the back of the foot of Dani Olmo as he was trying to turn away from pressure. And, due to an accumulation of yellow cards, Rego will actually miss the upcoming fixture for Athletic Club. And that fixture will be against Girona at the Montilivi. Robert Lewandowski, Ronald Araujo, Rafinha amongst the ones warming up for Barca. And Olmo back on his feet, appears to be okay. But substitution would not be surprising if, for anything, then at least to conserve his fitness status. And seems like there's a bit of an argument there between Pedri and I believe Vivian. We'll have to wait for the close-up. We'll have to see what the referee says. Play goes on here. Wayhan Sunset clapping, but probably sarcastically, if we're being honest. Olmo goes back to Eric Garcia, swings it over for Paco Barci. Instant pressure by Oyhan Sunset for Athletic Club. Here is Jacques Cancelo over to Rashford, looking to ping it back inside to the midfield. Just didn't get there. Rego for Sunset. Now a chance down the right hand side here with a cross in towards the danger zone, and it's claimed by Joan Garcia, who finds Dani Olmo instantly. Olmo just about gets it to Lamine Yamal. Lamine with an attempted Trivela cross. It looks like he might have hurt himself in the process. Athletic Club get the ball back. Laporte, Vivian, back to Unai Simon. And calling for it in the middle was one of the Athletic Club midfielders, but isn't getting it. And Athletic Club look to play a different way instead. Good swing over diagonal down the left-hand side here for Robert Navarro up against Eric Garcia. Navarro cuts inside. Brilliant ball in towards Oyhan Sunset, and it's denied by Joan Garcia. A team effort from Sunset, unlike him, but was good pressure from Barca to win the ball back. And now they can build themselves here. We'll have to see if Hansi Flick makes any changes. Given the warm-ups, you would expect so. You'd expect quite a few changes, and we'll see which ones he ultimately opts for. As it remains 0-0, about 53 minutes into this fixture at the San Mamés. And Lamine Yamal now finds Eric Garcia down the right-hand side. Ball goes back to the Barca line of defense. Casado swings it over for Gerard Martin, who for me has been very, very good today. Cancelo, Rashford looking to hold off Alex Berenguer and does. Gets it back from Gerard Martin. Here is Cancelo. Leaves it for Rashford and continues his run down the line. Rashford claims that it was off the line. The referee says play on. Rashford, brilliant flick away from danger and ultimately runs right into the trap of Vivian, who slides it out of play and out for a corner. And Vivian, very unhappy with what just happened there. We'll have to watch it back. It looks like it might have just stayed in, actually. Brilliant from Marcus Rashford. Great chop to get away from danger and then continue his run with a burst of pace, but ultimately ran right into the trap of Vivian, who did well to clear it. Will be a corner for Barca on Rashford's favored side here, as it could be an in-swinger. And it will be into the near post, rejected by Iñaki Williams. Oyhan Sunset here looking to head it into an Athletic player. Olmo picks it up. Brilliant keeping up. He's from Dani Olmo as he runs right into the danger zone and does get a foul here. We'll see if it will be a card as well to follow. Brilliant play from Dani Olmo. Brilliant composure. Chests it down, flicks it up once, then twice to beat Iñaki Williams. And then as he's met with another body of Athletic Club, flicks it one third time, then looks to basically, trap it and move past Oyhan Sunset, and that's when the tackle came in. Free kick from a potentially dangerous position. This is the position that Marcus Rashford has scored from for Barca on a direct free kick. We'll see if he can repeat that success. He's standing next to Dani Olmo, and I would venture to guess about 27 meters away, as Olmo seems to be the lone stepper here. Dani Olmo. Olmo denied by the wall. And it falls back for Barca. Olmo goes all the way back to the safety of Joan Garcia, who's now awaiting and assessing his options. He was going to Lamine Yamal. Lamine told him to go elsewhere, and he did. Casado did well to show. And Barca now looking to build slowly. Cancelo in for Martin. Here is Pau Cubarsí on the right-hand side for Eric Garcia. Back to the Barca number 5. And Gerard Martin's on the ball movements have been excellent in this game, I think, as well. He's looked very, very confident, and he's looked very confident in general. He's looked very sharp, looked very aware of his circumstances, hasn't given the ball away poorly, except for that one time in the first half where he just didn't get a right touch on it. But aside from that, I think he's been very, very solid and undoubtedly proving to be a very good option for Hansi Flick in the wake of injuries. Brilliant move again from Gerard Martin to fake off Oyhan Sunset. The ball goes in from the left-hand side in towards Ferran Torres. He didn't get to it, and now Atletico looking to build down the right-hand side and over the top here towards Iñaki Williams. Cubarsí chasing. Cubarsí seems to have pushed him to ground, and he has pushed him to ground, and it will be a free kick, and it will be a yellow card for Pau Cubarsí. No discussion for the referee, and quite frankly, not a good move from Pau Cubarsí. And Jose Montero in no doubt at all as to whether that was a foul or not. And to be fair, on the replay, it did look it as well. We'll have to watch it back on the close-up. And, well, it actually appears as though Iñaki fell on his own. Well, from an angle, it does appear as if Iñaki fell on his own. From another angle, it looks like Cubarsí actually pushed him down. And he does take the yellow card, Pau Cubarsí. No accumulation, so no immediate danger of missing any future fixtures due to yellow cards. But does go in the book of Jose Montero tonight. And a free kick and imminent danger looming. Robert Navarro and Alex Berenguer stepping on this, which means that Berenguer will definitely go for an in swinger. And he does in towards the back post. The shot is in the air, but it's rejected by Barca, ultimately cleared. Vivian goes long again on the return. Gorosabel finds Vivian down the left. And a poke in for Sunset, denied by Joan Garcia. The follow up from Iñaki Williams comes, but it was wide. And again, really good play by Vivian to find the support inside. A cheeky outside the foot tap. And, Vivian got the better of Eric Garcia, beat him twice, then poked it in for Oyhan Sunset, who couldn't get enough curl on it. Got it right into the hands of Joan Garcia. He pushed it out. The follow up falls to Iñaki Williams, whose shot goes wide. And Barca now have 5 shots to their name, while Athletic Club have 6. Barca now looking to attack down the left hand side here. Rashford just about keeps it in. Up against Gorosabel. Rashford looking to cut inside. It's taken down. Referee says play on. As Rashford stays down. Gorosabel here linking up down the right hand side. The ball goes in for Iñaki Williams. Williams over to Alex Berenguer down the right hand side, and he's too slow to get the ball out of his feet. Barca win it back. No foul, says the referee. Pedri with a great ball through here, but it's denied by sweeper keeper Unai Simon, as Lamine Yamal would have been through on goal. Robert Navarro looking to nutmeg Eric Garcia, doesn't, but does get through him anyway. And his follow-up pass poor as it's picked up by Pau Cubarsí. Pedri looking to win the ball back in the middle of the park as Barca gave it away. Unable to do that, Berenguer now finds help on the right-hand side. It's a crossing towards the back post. And, Robert Navarro ever chasing it. And, for Athletic Club, not the best showing on the counter-attack. They should have and could have done more of that. But Barca will be lucky they didn't and happy they didn't, as it remains 0-0. And for Barca, no changes aside from the Casado Pedri swap, the Bernal Pedri swap, sorry, as Pedri now looking to pass it down the right hand side for Eric Garcia, passes it very, very wide, and it will be a throw in for Athletic Club. And Pedri, of course, now wearing the armband following his introduction to this game, and has done decently since coming on. And now it is time for a few changes. Rafinha, Fermin Lopez, and Robert Lewandowski now all ready to come on. Presumably for Dani Olmo, Ferran Torres, and Marcus Rashford. So very much like for like. We'll see whether that is how Hansi Flick has envisioned it. Would be surprising if it wasn't, quite frankly. And especially given Dani Olmo falling to ground a couple of times this game and his injury history, you don't want any more reasons as to why he might miss games. As Gerard Martin tried over the top towards Marcus Rashford. It didn't work, went out of play for a Athletic Club thrown, and now we're seeing the changes. Ferran Torres off for Robert Lewandowski. Marcus Rashford off for Rafinha. And with the introduction of Rafinha, of course, we're seeing the Gala front three for Barca and Lamine Yamal, Robert Lewandowski, and Rafinha. And then Fermin Lopez in behind them as Dani Olmo is taken off for the third substitution. Barca having one left. Of course, 3 rounds of 5 players in total. Now they've substituted 4 in 2 rounds. So there is still room for one more change should Hansi Flick deem it necessary. Dani Olmo seeming quite disappointed, but perhaps mostly with the fact that Barca haven't managed to find the back of the net just yet, as he's replaced by Fermin Lopez. And so it continues. Athletic Club down the right hand side here towards Iñaki Williams. Gerard Martin does well to flick it over for Joan Garcia, who flicks it back towards the left hand side, and it's given away by Barca poorly. Robert Navarro picking it up, looking to find Iñaki Williams. Brilliant rejection by Barca there, as João Cancelo stepped in. Now Lamine Yamal down the right up against Adama, looking for support. He's found it in Fermin Lopez. Good turn away from pressure as Alex Berenguer was looming. And a Trivela pass from Cancelo over towards Rafinha does not come to much as Unai Simon picks it up. Finds Aymeric Laporte. A long ball here towards Iñaki Williams and company. Robert Navarro chasing it down up against Kubarsi, who finds Joan Garcia safely. Garcia not in a rush to make this pass happen. Back to Kubarsi. Now Eric Garcia down the right. Looking to pass it inside, and it goes into the feet of Athletic Club instead. Brilliant header to reject the counter attack by Pau Kubarsi, and then getting it back again with Joan Garcia next to him. Kubarsi looking to drive forward ever so slightly, has support to his left in Gerard Martin, finds him. Decent first touch, a bit risky from Gerard Martin, but does keep the ball nonetheless. For Jacques Cancelo, back to Martin. Kubarsi and Athletic Club's pressure now pretty much cutting off the passing lanes rather than press the holder of the ball. As Fermin Lopez now driving inside. Barca continuing the possession here down the right-hand side with Eric Garcia. Passing it back to Pau Kubarsi. And Kubarsi upset with the lack of options going forward for Barca. They've pretty much been pinned down into their own half here. Lamine Yamal driving inside from the right-hand side into the danger zone. And looks like a man down for Barca. Ref says play on. Fermin down the right, up against the supporting cast of Rego and Adama. Fermin from the right-hand side. And looks like it's called back for a foul. Pedri arguing with Jose Montero. And we'll have to see, as it looks like the foul is called back the way of Athletic Club, as Lamine Yamal might have taken a bit of a hit on Horiguizar as he slid into Marc Casado. Looks like the foul will go the way of Athletic Club. It will, which is why the argument was coming from Barca's camp. And Barca have now officially committed 8 fouls to Athletic Club 6 here at the San Mamés. It is still 0-0, still scoreless, 65 minutes in. And Mike Laporte with a switch over to the right-hand side. It's read well by Barca. Lewandowski looking to combine with Cancelo. Cancelo does well initially, but then gives it away with a poor pass in towards the midfield. Athletic Club running with 4 minutes. Oyhan Sanset here, leaving it in for Horiguizar. Robert Navarro across the face of goal, and it goes to a Barca player, Gerard Martin, who clears it well. Barca now looking to conjure an attack of their own on the counter here, and it's not a great pass in towards the path of Lamine Yamal. But Barca win it back here. And Pedri doing well to hold off Vivian. Does really well to hold off Vivian. Falls to ground in the end and does get the foul called his way. Looks to be quite hurt, though. As it wasn't only Vivian. I believe it was Gorosabel as well who came to help. It was Gorosabel who bumped into Pedri while Vivian was looking to, well, hold him off. It's out for a Barca throw in here as Barca got quite close. We'll see here. Pedri with the ball over for Lamine Yamal. Lamine on the right. Lamine Yamal. Lamine! Goal, 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 Gol de Lamine Yamal. Gol del Barça. And they have taken the lead in the 67th minute. Lamine Yamal to the rescue. It is a brilliant, brilliant goal from Lamine Yamal. A curling effort that was curling ever away from Unai Simon. It's a great ball to break down the line of defense through and through every single athletic player in the way. Found Lamine Yamal on the right, who still had a lot to do. Cuts inside and then curls it into the top left corner. Brilliant again. And again, it's a brilliant, brilliant ball down the left-hand side. And Lamine Yamal with a brilliant finish. One touch, then the second to get away from Adama, and then curls it into the back of the net, off the post and in. Absolutely brilliant from Lamine Yamal. And Barca take the lead. And again, it's a brilliant, brilliant ball from Pedri in the build-up. Got it from João Cancelo down the left, drove inside, saw the gap that Barca have been trying to find all game. And, well, it paid off in the end. And now for Athletic Club and Ernesto Valverde, we're seeing two changes. Gorka Guruzeta replacing Iñaki Williams, and Rego replaced by Mikel Vethka. So a change left for each side, should they wish to make use of it. And for the record, that is Lamine Yamal's 14th league goal this season. And Barca unable to keep hold of the ball there. And Athletic Club close to a chance, it seemed, but Alex Berenguer couldn't get on the end of the ball. Neither could Gorka Guruzeta. And we'll have to see whether Barca can pile on a second or whether Athletic Club can respond. Because if you're Athletic Club now, you're going to feel like you should have been ahead, didn't take your chances, and Barca instead took theirs, which is exactly what happened. And Barca, perhaps a bit of luck coming their way in the sense of Athletic Club just not scoring from the many chances they've had. But for Barca, brilliant, brilliant goal scoring opportunity created through Pedri. Lamine Yamal had a lot to do still from that right hand side, did it very, very well. And Barca find themselves ahead at the San Mamés with 20 minutes to go of regular time here, as Cancelo could not control the ball in transition. And the ball now back with Athletic Club. A bit of calamity going on down the left-hand side for Barca and Athletic Club, and it looks like we'll see a foul the way of the hosts as Rafinha took down Gorosabo. And again, like I said, 95% attendance at the San Mamés. This game is virtually, well, not sold out, but pretty well covered in terms of the people in the stands, and it shows in the atmosphere. It has been tough for Barca. They've managed to get a goal through a well-created chance, but Athletic Club had to do so much better than they did with their final ball, and that's what their focus is going to be on here as they go with another cross, and that time it's rejected again by Gerard Martin, and João Cancelo looking to hold it up, does so very, very well, finding support down the left-hand side. It's a great turn from Pedri in for Fermin Lopez, and now Barca might attack again here as you look to find Lamine Yamal. He has Lamine against Adama. Lamine cuts inside, finds Rafinha, looking to chip it over the head of Unai Simon, and ultimately chips it wide. Good chance for Barca. Decent play again, and now they look a little bit more alive after scoring that goal. And Unai Simon telling his players to go up the pitch as they look to focus on just scoring a goal here in the last 18 minutes of regular time. Barca deny the long ball here with a header, but it falls back the way of Athletic Club. Unai Simon tries another one down the left-hand side. It's headed on by Robert Navarro, in for Guruzeta. Falls in for Oyhan Sunset. Brilliant turn away from pressure. Sunset supported down the right by Alex Berenguer and by Gorosabel. Gorosabel with a cross in towards the back post. And John Garcia just about gets to it. It falls for Robert Navarro, though, as he didn't get quite a hold of it. Navarro with a cross in, rejected by Pedri with a header. Falls for Vivian, and his shot goes over the bar. And well, if your attackers can't do it, you might as well try yourself. Decent effort from Vivian, but couldn't quite make it happen. And again, that goal from Barca, absolutely brilliant from Lamine Yamal. Again, off the post and in. Completely wrong-footed Adama, got him off balance. And after he got him off balance, Laporte was out of the way. And now Athletic Club might, well, they're attacking the other down the right-hand side again. Alex Berenguer with a cross. And, well, it goes wide. Claims of it having potentially hit a Barca player on the way out. And Jose Montero seems to agree, as the corner is to be taken here down the left-hand side for Athletic Club. It is taken short. Berenguer back to Robert Navarro. Navarro down the left-hand side. Back to Alex Berenguer. Looking to cross it in. He doesn't towards the far post, and it's ever curling away from its intended target. The recipient never got the mail, and it will be a goal kick. Eder Garcia now coming on for Athletic Club and replaces Jorge Guitar, which means that the starting midfield pivot of Jorge Guitar and Rego has now been completely replaced. Well, the starting midfield three actually has been completely replaced. Jorge Guitar off for Eder Garcia. Mikel Vetka on for Rego. And like I said, Sanchez started as the 10. He's been replaced by Ohan Sanset. Robert Navarro replaced Unai Gomez, who got injured 11 minutes into the game. Iñaki Williams got taken off for Gorka Guruzeta. So, Athletic Club have made use of all 5 of their substitutions. Barca still have one up their sleeve if they want it. They have about 15 minutes to make it, plus whatever injury time is added on top of the regular 90. Joan Garcia taking his time, pressed a little bit by Gorka Guruzeta, but not all that much. Finds Cubarci, and Barca have given it away poorly here, as Casado couldn't keep hold of it. Play now continues. Here's Eder Garcia, the newly introduced player, over for Goro Sabal, and that is a brilliant tackle from Barca as they try to build here down the left-hand side. Pedri gets possession, looking to hold on to it, and does so well as he gets a foul his way. Game management from Barca, which is exactly what you'd want to see at this stage of proceedings. And now it looks like Barca might need that 5th substitution anyway, because Marc Casado went down, seems to be slightly hurt. I'm going to guess with cramps, as he's helped up here by Guruzeta. And we'll see if it was just a bit of a hard stretch. Ronald Araujo, the only one who is fully equipped to play a football match. He is stripped and ready, and we'll see if he does come on. You'd expect him not to be the one to be substituted on if Casado is to be replaced, but we'll have to wait and see. Garcia could slot into that CDM position, or that RDM position, really, the right-sided pivot. And as Barca looks to progress play down the right-hand side here, Lamine Yamal appears to have been offside. Definitely was. Argued with the assistant referee that he wasn't. Hansi Flick told him to move on with it, and he did. And Barca now on the defense as Athletic Club look to build brilliantly, picked out by João Cancelo. Cancelo looking to drive down the left-hand side here. Does very, very well in holding up possession. Looks to force his way through 2 Athletic Club players. Unable to do it without losing possession of the ball and his footing. No foul given. Athletic Club look to build here on the counter from their own half by Aymeric Laporte. And for Garcia, looks to find Guruteta, waited for him to be back on side. Looks like he was. He's found Robert Navarro down the left. And, well, now the offside call came. And I think Jose Montero is signaling that the first through ball was offside. It appears to be that way because Robert Navarro was definitely not. So Gorka Guruteta was the one initially offside. Good turn and good pass through for Robert Navarro, who wasn't offside, but Barca just got the better of Guruzeta there. And a bit of an argument there between Pedri and Guruzeta, as well as Jose Luis Montero. Have to see what the outcome is of that. as Barca appear to make a change here in Marc Casado coming off. So if Ronald Araujo is to replace him, which looks very, very likely, the assumption on my end is that Eric Garcia will step into the double pivot next to Pedri, and we'll see Araujo taking on the right side of the defense. And Araujo here does get the armband. And what we're actually seeing is a defense of Araujo and Cubarsí in the middle. We'll have to wait and see what happens with Joao Cancelo because Cancelo seems to be on the right side now, which would have pushed Gerard Martin down the left, and Barca playing with fire here. Joan Garcia does get his pass away. Pedri, however, doesn't get his switch away. It's blocked by Athletic Club. Ultimately, the ball does fall for Barca, and a ball through here for Rafinha down the left-hand side. Unai Simon does very well to claim it. And, well, in that case, what we'll probably see is Eric Garcia stepping into the double pivot with Pedri, or the double midfield with Pedri, and then Araujo Cubarsí, the central one, Gerard Martin down the left, and Joao Cancelo on the right, which seems to be how Barca have ultimately lined up here after organizing their lines as Athletic Club look to build down the left-hand side. It's a really, really good tackle from Eric Garcia to win the ball back. Athletic Club's throw in from Adama goes the way of Eder Garcia. Now back for Vivian. On his right is Gorosabel, who's had a good game so far. For Oyhan Sunset, awaiting just the right time to pass that ball down the right hand side. And now Gorosabel had made a run, but he found himself offside by the time the ball was to be played. Athletic Club retain possession. Now swing over to the left for Robert Navarro. Navarro up against Lamine Yamal. Lamine doesn't press him too much, allows him to do the diagonal switch over. Headed back to Gorosabel in for Eder Garcia. Garcia looking to make a run down the right hand side, and again does not get the ball. Gorosabel now looking to make that run himself. And that ball is read by Barca and intercepted well as they look to launch a very quick counterattack down the left. Rafinha is fast, but not that fast. Ultimately, it goes out for a throw-in for Athletic Club. They're playing it safe as Vivian finds Unai Simon. Laporte, back to Vivian. And Barca almost win the ball back in midfield. Athletic Club just about keep it. As Robert Navarro here on the ball down the left-hand side. Back to Adama. Adama finds Laporte, and maybe we'll see a long switch here. As he's taking his time with it. Barca looking to cut off the passing lanes, and there is the long switch to the right-hand side. Alex Berenguer up against Gerard Martin. And Martin gets the better of him. Brilliant time to step in from Gerard Martin, making sure that Berenguer is okay and unhurt by that step in. And Eder Garcia now an option for the throw-in. In steps Berenguer to take it, and does. Finds Gorosabel. Gorosabel looking to hold on to it. Barca win it back, but can't keep it. And now Athletic Club might be in a good position to shoot, if not for the ball being called back for a foul here. And Athletic Club unhappy with that, but it is called back as Eder Garcia stepped in quite heavily. Seems to have had his arm flailing and hit Eder Garcia in the face as he looked to win the ball back, and ultimately gave away a foul the way of Barca. And again, for Barca, 1-0, decent result, everything considered. They haven't been completely outplayed by Athletic Club, but they've just not been as inventive going forward as they perhaps should have been. As Rafinha unable to keep hold of that ball. Well, so he thought. The ball does go the way of Barca in that throw-in. But again, Gorosabel very, very unhappy with that decision. And Barca looking to just maybe manage the game here as they play it in for Ronald Araujo. Araujo, supported by Joao Cancelo down the right. Cancelo instantly pressed. Finds Fermin, who's pushed over to the right-hand side now, and ultimately gives away the ball, but gets the throw-in in return. And Barca can keep hold of the ball for a little bit longer. Joao Cancelo ready to take this throw-in here, now playing as the right back. Which again, a game like this, given the result, that is a token of trust from Hansi Flick, and perhaps a sign that we might see a bit more of Joao Cancelo going forward for Barca, as he brilliantly plays it in between two Athletic Club players in for Pedri. Pedri holding on to it for what seemed like a bit too long, ultimately did keep possession as he found Gerard Martin down the left. Martin, and the ball now back with Jean Garcia, supported by Ronaldo Araujo, who's stretching the width of the pitch. Now back to Jean Garcia, and Garcia assessing his options. Eric Garcia is one through the middle, but also a very risky one. So he does go for Ronaldo Araujo down the right. Araujo with a very good diagonal switch over towards Rafinha. Can he get it ahead of Unai Simon? The answer is no. Unai Simon instantly looking to create a counter-attacker down the right for Gorosabel. Gorosabel holds up the ball, finds Eder Garcia in space. Eder Garcia, of course, the number 10 in this lineup, but has had to drop very, very deep to help facilitate play. Now Robert Navarro down the left. Brilliant step in from Barca as they win the ball back. Eric Garcia does really well. Lamine Yamal combining here with Fermin Lopez, who's also had to drop a bit deep. And it's sort of been the case for both sets of players here as Barca give the ball away. A slip up by Gerard Martin, and Athletic Club have a chance here down the right hand side, and it's a good cross in, but it's very well dealt with by Joan Garcia, who claims it safely and soundly, as that one looked incredibly dangerous. Garcia with a very good throw here towards Fermin Lopez, looks to flick it over the head of the on running Mikel Vetka, and ultimately gets a foul. And that's pretty much going to be Barca's game plan for now, it seems, to just try and frustrate Athletic Club, try and keep hold of the possession, not necessarily be in zone 14 or around the danger zones, but at the very least, just keep hold of the possession, keep hold of the game, and break down their counterattacks whenever they get them. And so far, it's worked fine. But if you don't want to err on the side of caution, you would need to maybe get another goal. As Barca look to build here, and they've played with fire as the ball is given away poorly. Pedri looked to find Gerard Martin, unable to do it through the middle out to the left. And, well, Athletic Club unable to keep possession either down the right-hand side, as seems like Berenguer was off balance as he tried to keep the ball in his possession. And it will be a throw-in for for Barca here at the San Mamés. 85 minutes played of regular time. We're slowly approaching the final few minutes, as well as the injury time, which we'll have to wait and see how many of those we will get. As another foul here has occurred. Robert Lewandowski arguing with Jose Montero, telling him that he wasn't involved in that. As well, Robert Lewandowski was receiving the ball. Gorosabel latches onto the back of him, and as Lewandowski is looking to free himself from the hold of Gorosabel, he winds up hitting him in the head, in the face, and Barca do get the ball back. Following the internal review, and Barca remain ahead 1-0 here, 86 minutes in. Garcia over for Ronaldo Araujo. Araujo now pretty much isolated as he looked to find a pass to progress play. Ultimately took a bit too long, but at the same time, the ball from Joan Garcia wasn't the best, and put Araujo in quite a delicate position for the Uruguayan. Barca get the throw in, but very much to the dismay of Gorka Guruzeta. Joao Cancelo looks to go long. It's rejected by Adama. Cancelo wins it right back, though. Finds Lamine Yamal. Lamine, the diagonal switch over towards Rafinha up against Vivian. And it's very well dealt with by the Athletic Club defense. Here comes Gorosabel down the right-hand side. Gorosabel with the ball through for Alex Berenguer down the right. Alex Berenguer has beat the line of defense. Has he beat the offside trap? He tries a cross in. It's rejected by Gerard Martin, but it's gotten to by Vezka on the return, although in an offside position. Let's watch it back again. The initial pass for Alex Berenguer from Gorosabel was seemingly offside. That is the ultimate call here, is that it was offside. And pretty much nullifies the rest of that sequence of play, although it was pretty good from Athletic Club, although unable to quite make their danger count as they find themselves once again lacking in the finishing department. Barca have been lacking in that too, although find themselves lucky to be in the lead here, given how this game has gone. Adama gets the ball here for Athletic Club, sees himself pressed, and goes back to Unai Simon, who clears his lines. It's dealt with by Barca. Bounce back falls for Athletic Club, and now ball goes over on the left hand side for Robert Navarro. Navarro, tailed by Lamine Yamal, and met by Jacques Cancelo, combining here with Adama, who's pushed up. That's Canal, back for Aymeric Laporte. Now Athletic Club are playing with every man ahead of the halfway line, which means if Barca want a quick counter, they'll have to really, really watch their runs. As Barca look to get the ball back here, it's very, very well dealt with by Fermin Lopez, using his head to keep the ball in the air and ultimately control it as he goes for a dagger ball through towards Rafinha. It's very well denied by Gorosabel, and Vivian dribbling himself out of pressure, but then giving the ball right back to Barca. Lamine Yamal not looking to rush anything, finds Araujo, and Joan Garcia clearing it all the way out to the right hand side. It falls out for a, well, not for a throw in, actually. It's still in play. Adama kept it in play, but it's all the way back in Athletic Club's half and not in any sign of immediate danger for Barca. As Robert Navarro is found again down the left hand side. Navarro, his ball towards Guruteta is blocked by Barca, and their return ball in towards the midfield is also blocked as Fermin Lopez didn't get to it. Now the ball is here on the right hand side for Oyhan Sunset, and his shot. He's got a shot on him. That time didn't have any accuracy as it goes very, very much over the bar, and probably fell into the hands of a fan in the stands. Nico Williams in the stands as well, and unhappy with what he just saw. And interestingly enough, Athletic Club, although a lot of their attacks recently have been down the left hand side with Robert Navarro, they've actually attacked equal amounts on both sides, 4 and then 5 through the middle. For Barca, their counterattacks now have been more down the left hand side with the switches trying to catch the defense off guard, but Gorosabel and Vivian have been excellent in that department as Barca clear their lines here through Ronald Araujo as Athletic Club tried a long ball. The ball boys ready to give the ball back instantly to the home side here at the San Mames. And a chip attempt here down the left-hand side. The switch is made, but it's not a good one. And Barca get the ball back for a goal kick. Mikel Vetka was never getting to that one. And it will be, see how many minutes of injury time it will be. We have indeed approached the 90th minute of play. We'll have to see what happens now as Joan Garcia is pushing everyone up, looking to go long here, and does, over towards the left-hand side of Rafinha. And, well, Fermin Lopez here looking to win the ball back. Looks like a foul is given. The stoppage time says 5 minutes. So 5 minutes left for either side to score a goal. For Athletic Club, this goal would put them in a more of a favorable position for European competitions next season than they were prior to this match day. And for Barca, it would put them in quite a delicate position for the title race. So let's see what happens here. It's Athletic Club with the diagonal switch over here for Robert Navarro down the left. It's a good strike on the volley, but ultimately goes wide. Not in danger for Joan Garcia. Very, very good switch. And took it very well on the volley, Robert Navarro. But it wasn't able to keep it on target. 4 minutes to go. We'll have to see if Barca find themselves able to conjure a goal here. It seems likely, but all it would take really is for Rafinha to catch that defense off guard, which has not looked possible down the left-hand side. Here's Fermin Lopez looking to dribble his way through down the left-hand side, look to leave it for Pedri, unable to do that, and Athletic Club looking to build here on the right again, and again it's denied. And looks like it will be a throw for Athletic Club. Alex Berenguer takes it quickly, finds Vivian, back to Berenguer, now back to Vivian. All the way back to Unai Simon. Unai Simon now before Aymeric Laporte, who's driving forward here. Has support by Adama to his left. Not so much support in the middle. Adama takes it inside, goes for a cross in towards zone 14. It bounces out for Oyhan Sansa down the right. He tries to cross in. The shot by Guruteta is instantly blocked. That looked very dangerous from Athletic Club and very well dealt with by Barca as Pedri. Rather than launch the counter, looked to hold the play and ultimately give the ball away. Vivian driving forward here, denied by Barca. And looks like now the play is being called back here for Eric Garcia, who is down. A yellow card is issued. The way of Athletic Club. Eric Garcia still down. And, well, it looks like Vivian claims he was clipped by Fermin. But ultimately, Jose Montero believes that Vivian seems to have hurt Eric Garcia instead, as Eric Garcia was the man in front of him. And so rather than calling it an Eric Garcia tackle, he's calling it a Vivian intervention. And again, a brilliant block by Kubarsi on the Guruseta shot earlier. Because with the power that shot was coming with, you would not be surprised if it ended up in the back of the net. João Garcia switching over to the left-hand side here. It's rejected by Vivian. The return comes through Barca here. Kubarsi heading it. Now Fermin looking to win the ball back in a sea of Athletic Club players. Brilliant slide tackle from Eric Garcia to win the ball back. Pedri now finds Lamine Yamal down the right. Lamine, supported by Cancelo behind him, looks to drive forward here with a minute and a half to go. And ultimately, Vivian chases him down. It will be a Barca throw-in. And Barca taking their time here. Joao Cancelo back for Ronald Araujo. Not taking any chances. Araujo finds Kubarsi across. Barca now back in their own half as Gerard Martin swings it back for Joan Garcia. Garcia goes long in towards Robert Lewandowski and Lamine Yamal. Lamine up against Adama. Lamine heads it to ground. Lamine now towards the byline, and Unai Simon catches the cross. Really good idea by Lamine Yamal. The execution failed him a little bit, but very, very good idea, and did very well with the chance. And on the other side, Pedri claiming that the throw that was given for Athletic Club should have been given the other way. Referee unhappy to hear it. And Barca now give the ball away as Araujo looked to clear his lines. Athletic Club couldn't keep it, and now Barca have the ball back on the right-hand side here. Lamine Yamal, now swarmed by 4 Athletic Club players, pings it back the way of Fermin Lopez. Araujo over to Joao Cancelo, who has to shuffle over to get it. Cancelo thought about his options, ultimately went back, and with a few seconds left on the clock of injury time, Barca go towards the left-hand side for Gerard Martin. He keeps it in play, clears his lines, and that is all she wrote. Full time is here. Barca 1, Athletic Club 0. Athletic Club 0, Barca 1 at the San Mamés. Barca have the victory here. And so it ends. A good performance from Barca, all things considered. Not necessarily what they would have hoped for when the game started, but it is where we are. And as things stand now, Barca find themselves remaining atop the table with 4 points clear of Real Madrid, who have Elche next time out a week from now. Barca have Sevilla at the Camp Nou. And for Real Madrid, their game will, of course, also be at home at the Santiago Bernabeu. So for Barca now, they can, in theory, afford to slip up against Sevilla without it costing them the league title for now, provided they bounce back in the games that follow. And of course, the next game for Barca outside of La Liga, the imminent game is this coming Tuesday as they face Newcastle at the in the Champions League here in the round of 16 first leg. They've drawn Newcastle, of course. Last time these two teams faced, it was an interesting affair, and Barca ultimately came out victorious. So, again, it's going to be a very, very interesting match between these two sides, and we'll have to see how it goes because for Barca now they just finished this game. They have Champions League round of 16 first leg against Newcastle, then they have the Sevilla game a few days later, that the following Sunday, so next Sunday. Then they play Newcastle again on Wednesday, the 18th, and then they play Rayo on the 22nd. Before then facing Atleti, then Espanyol, and then Celta and Getafe. So a tough run of games, and of course El Clasico will be on May 10th. which will be the fourth last game in La Liga this season. So that game, of course, could decide a lot. But for Barca now, a crucially, they need to get their affairs in order, and they need to really keep this run going. It wasn't the prettiest win, and in the first half, I personally think that Athletic Club should have been ahead. Uh, for the majority of chances, I think Athletic Club should have scored, but now that is the second time these two teams have faced Barca and Athletic Club, and Athletic Club have lost both fixtures. Of course, the first one was the first end of the season, the first stretch in the end of November when Barca beat Athletic Club 4-0, and Athletic Club wound up getting a red card the way of Oyahan Sanset in the 54th. And Barca only scored one goal after that, which was the final goal for El Tiburon Ferran Torres. And again, it's going to be really interesting to see how the next games pan out. Like I said, for Barca, of course, now they have to face Newcastle in the Champions League. And, well, it's going to be an interesting one. And we will be covering it, of course. You can watch along with us or read along with us if that's what you'd prefer. Um, and of course, that game was also the introduction to what Marcus Rashford can bring to the side. The game that is in question, of course, the one against Newcastle was when Barca won 2-1 at St. James Park. Both goals by Marcus Rashford before Newcastle responded with a late goal by Anthony Gordon. And it's going to be an interesting one nonetheless. That is all I have for you for now. Thank you for tuning in to Blog Underground Match Day. I've been Omar Hawash. If you would like to support this show or our other content, like the Driven Shot podcast, which we have with Mundo Deportivo, like the articles that we put out on blogonogram.com, like the TikToks that we make, whether it's our as we call them, armchair documentaries or other content, or just content like this, you can do so financially as well for as low as a single dollar for a single donation. It does not have to be recurring. It doesn't have to be more than $1, but it really does go a long way because we go a long way to make this content for you free to watch. Not just this, but also the website. We've taken out all the ads to give you the best experience. And well, a lot of money is pumped into this on a yearly basis. So if we could get some of that back through you supporting our content financially, that would mean a lot. Obviously, if you can't or don't want to, that is totally fair. Your support to us in just tuning into these streams still means the world to us, genuinely. So no pressure, but if you did, it would genuinely mean a lot to us, and it would help us create better content that is more entertaining and more insightful and more informative for you. So please do keep that in mind. If you would like to look at what that could do, you could go down to blogonogram.com. You can read our company manifesto. You can read what the donation money goes to, and of course, we do always want to make the best content for you and the content that you enjoy the most. So if you have any ideas for stuff you want to see from us, whether that's video, audio, uh, articles, texts, let us know. We do have an article that is being worked on currently that was actually suggested by one of you. So we like to make content for the people. That is what we do. That is what we've always done. We don't like to sugarcoat things or have certain agendas towards or bias towards anyone or anything. If Barca aren't playing well, we'll tell you they're not playing well. We won't sugarcoat it, right? So um, that is all for me. I'm Omar Hawash, the CEO of Blogonogram, journalist, commentator, and this is Blogonogram Match Day, available on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and also TikTok. So if you missed out on any parts of this, you could go back and watch it on any of those respective platforms. Please do make sure to subscribe, like, follow on the respective platform if you did enjoy this content. If you have any ideas for how we could make this content better or more enjoyable for you, please do let us know. If you'd like to see more visuals or anything like that, if you think the commentary is too stale, monotone, it's too much, too hyped, whatever, let us know. We want this to be as much of a show for you as it is for us. That is all from me. I wish you the best of nights, the best of evenings, days, or mornings, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you for tuning in to listen to me and watch this. Well, go through this game with me. We will see.